Imagine working numerous and countless hours, 6 days a week, and taking immense pride in the sport that you play to help show a great representation of your school, just so someone else can get paid millions of dollars. And in most cases, you just get a scholarship. In recent years, this has been the life of a college athlete. Student athletes have everything thrown at them all at once they step foot in college and are easily brought down and have second thoughts on whether it is worth it to play a sport in college. While students have doubts on whether to play a sport in college, NCAA schools profit from viewership, jersey sales, and ticket sales, and are able to give back to the athletes who help make a lot of their money. For many reasons, including basic fairness, college athletes should get paid. That is why I'm here to tell you why college athletes should get paid. As someone who loves sports, it is very important to me to tell you guys about this information. I'll be addressing some main points on why college athletes should be getting paid. There have been many topics being discussed as playing is equivalent to working, playing a sport takes time away from students, studying and getting paid can provide motivation to play for these hardworking college athletes. As this subject has been brought up in the past few years, there have been questions asked such as, how would colleges or the NCAA department be able to do this? Or why do student athletes need payment on top of their scholarship? As somebody who has loved watching college sports for 13 years, I strongly believe and express that the NCAA has not given back to these hardworking student athletes. When I was younger, I was never able to understand the financial problem college athletes would go through, or the amount of people that would stop playing sports in college. As I've gotten older, I have taken a lot of classes in the field of business and have been able to understand the struggles that college athletes have had to face. With this area of subject, I want to present how this is affecting college athletes and the principles behind it, as well as how this topic is significant in destroying the fabric of reality with college sports. While I've had many daydreams of being a collegiate athlete my whole life, this topic means a lot more than my love towards sports. This can instead get college athletes heading the right track. NCAA and colleges not paying their athletes happen to expand on the drawback of these young athletes' special talents, as this continues to be an issue. Without the will to change this problem, the upcoming generation of all people with special talents will not be able to pursue their dreams of wanting to play a sport in college. With schools making more than $18.8 billion that was consumed on athletics by more than 1,100 NCAA institutions across all three NCAA division levels since 2019. Of that amount, schools have received a total of $170 million in license fees and $3.5 billion from the sale of athletic apparel and equipment, which was reported by Benjamin Axel in 2019 in the article, How Much Money Do College Athletes Bring to Their Schools? The numbers show that there is enough to help cover the spread on a reasonable amount of wage to college students of all sports. It is good to give back to the athletes as it is better than making absolutely nothing, and can play a big role with increasing the amount of people wanting to play in college. To expand the amount of money that college sports departments have made, there should be a better understanding of how much of this money is going to these sports programs and these athletes. A journal published in 2015, The Case for Paying College Athletes by Alan Sanderson and John Siegfried had stated that among football coaches, Alabama's head coach, Nick Saban, had earned over $7 million per year, and Ohio State's head coach, Urban Meyer, had a base salary of $4.6 million per year, as it was not counting numerous incentive clauses. Among head basketball coaches, Duke's head coach, Mike Krzyzewski, earned $9.7 million, and Kentucky's head coach, John Calipari, is above $7 million per year of earnings. The median head football coach among the 126 football subdivision institutions earned $1.6 million in 2013. The comparable head basketball coach's salary was $1.2 million. It raises the questions such as, Why does the NCAA allow college coaches to get paid all this money, but the student athletes who are putting in all this work are getting 0% of these earnings? The article had also stated that in 2013, the median annual revenue generated from football was $20.3 million, and from men's basketball coaches with $5.6 million at the 126 largest programs. The amount of money these college programs are earning, and how much of these earnings go to players are critical. The amount of money these college programs are earning and how much of these earnings are going to players is critical. Next, an article. Here's the insane amount of time student athletes spend in practice by Jacob Peters gives a detailed description of statistics on the average amount of time a week that football players who attended the University of North Carolina Chapel Hill would spend practicing, as well as how much time they would have either to study or sleep. In the article, it had stated that in 2015, football players at Chapel Hill would spend more than 40 hours a week practicing, which would leave small amount of time to keep up with the academic dedication that they originally had. Now imagine being in a situation as a student athlete, wondering how are you going to balance your time with athletics and school, spending hours going to practice and in games, and the additional time you're going to use going to class as well as studying and doing homework. These college athletes are making sacrifices to their college experience, as they do not have as much time as other college students, whether it be having fun or classes that they are able to take due to their athletic schedule. For high school student athletes or younger, you may not get much of an understanding of this, as many high schoolers have more time to spare. But as a college student myself, I had time management issues with school, and I'm not playing a collegiate sport or even club sports. With student athletes having everything being with student athletes having everything being thrown at them all at once when they step foot in college, they are easily brought down and have second thoughts on whether it is worth it playing a sport in college. The fear of injuries is one of the things that can bring a collegiate athlete down. Injuries are a risk of playing college sports, as athletes can suffer from multiple different types of painful injuries like sprains, swollen muscles, knee injuries, Achilles ruptures, fractures, dislocations, and most importantly, head injuries. An article, The Effect of Concussion History on Lower Extremity Injury Risk in College Athletes, a systematic review and media analysis by an Old Dominion University Rehabilitation Science Group had stated that college athletes who suffer a concussion may possess prolonged impairments, even after clearance for return to participation, which may place them at an increased risk of lower extremity injury. Also stating that college athletes who suffer a concussion possess a 58% greater risk of sustaining a lower extremity muscular injury than those who did not have a history of a concussion. The next part about encouraging college athletes to play is treating them with basic fairness. What I mean by that is rewarding for the work that they are doing. These college athletes work very hard to excel at the sport that they are playing. They are under pressure to perform at the highest level at their sport, and they are always being judged by fans. This is based on how athletes are playing or whether they are winning or not. When things are not going well for athletes, they receive grief and sometimes hate by the media and fans. But when an athlete is performing very well and are winning, all they are rewarded is with praise and nothing physically valuable in return. Athletes are able to see this, but there is also fear of the consequences of not exemplifying mental toughness as of how it is currently understood. The fear that their coach and teammates will see them as weak and lose confidence and trust in them. Athletes react to adverse experiences in the same way that other people do. Yet they are often penalized for expressing stressful, fearful, and angry emotions. They are expected to be stoic, but when they are not, but when they are not, they are viewed as out of control. An article, let's talk about the quiet crisis in college sports mental health by Eric Lindbergh, focuses on how mental health helps students, athletes at the University of Southern California balance sports, balance academics as well as sports and their personal life. In the article, DeMar DeRozan, a former student athlete at the University of Southern California and a professional basketball player, states how mental health was when he was states how his mental health was when he was a student athlete in college. DeMar DeRozan had stated, "I couldn't hide from my shield anymore. I just came out and expressed it, hoping someone could relate and make me feel better." As he exposed implicit of how mental health has been covered up by student athletes trying to suck it up, but inside they feel angry, frustrated, anxiety, sorrow, and pain. The article continues with a study by the University of Southern California sports psychology expert Robert Schofield in 1984, as he goes on to say how much more of a jump it is from playing a sport in from high school to college, stating how everyone surrounding these athletes dwell on more of their production in the game instead of their individual development and character growth, as it creates a foundation and establishment for comfort, having less serious-minded obstacles and more good results. Schofield emphasizes on her belief that all student athletes need to have healthy relationships and a greater purpose besides trying to win in order to satisfy incentives and significance, whether it is playing sports or in the classroom learning. In conclusion, college athletes should get paid as they are very valuable to their school, factoring in that these athletes are working very hard and are helping their school receive high revenue, as sports are also taking away time from studying and personal college living and are taking away motivation and confidence to play for these hardworking collegiate athletes. As NCAA schools profit from viewership, jersey sales, and ticket sales, they can get back to these athletes who help make a lot of their money. Thank you for watching and hope you enjoyed.